From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Millicent Walker.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar restates need for the creation of state police. Party condemns government's inability to tackle rising insecurity. The drama in the People's Democratic Party assumes a different shade as Governor Nyesom Wike accuses camp of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar of masterminding the lawsuit against the party's presidential candidate. Atiku's camp denies the allegation by Governor Wike. And the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited targets over $500 billion worth of revenue as it signs various agreements with 10 oil companies.
Business news tonight. Nigerian Customs Service generates over 1.2 trillion naira revenue into the Federation account for the first half of this year, exceeds targets by 28%.
And on sports news tonight, Nigeria's Falconets begin their campaign as the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Costa Rica with a morale-boosting 1-0 over European powerhouse France.
Of Imo State challenges federal government to identify the brains behind crude oil theft in the country, warns against treating perpetrators as sacred cows.
From London, the former US President Donald Trump says he will not oppose the release of the warrant that let the FBI search his Mar-a-Lago house earlier this week.
Activities in the political scene continue to take different shapes, and ahead of the formal kick-off of campaign in September, some of the parties are already throwing darts in a bid to score points. We begin tonight with the People's Democratic Party, PDP, which is slamming the APC-led federal government for what it says is its inability to tackle insecurity effectively and resolve the ongoing strike by university lecturers. The party is also canvassing for the establishment of state police and a stable education system in Nigeria. The party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, and other leaders were speaking at the 2022 International Youth Day in Abuja.
It's not the regular meeting of the People's Democratic Party. However, some leaders of the party, including its 2023 presidential candidate, are attending this event to mark the 2022 International Youth Day in Abuja. The International Youth Day is set aside by the United Nations to draw attention to issues concerning young people, and participants here highlight some of them.
The most important and fundamental right of any youth, wherever, whenever, whatever, is the right to education. Therefore, I take very, very strong exception to the strike by ASU and to the inability of the government to resolve that crisis. It will never happen under a PDP government or under an administration that I oversee.
The destiny of our nation is in our hands. However, this cannot be achieved by being mere spectators. We have to be involved in every political process.
At a separate event to also mark the 2022 International Youth Day, the vice presidential candidate of the PDP decries the rising insecurity and the threat it poses to young people as he advocates for state police.
With this security in the land, why would the states not be allowed to have their police? So the right thing is to ensure that the states are able to have their own police where they are officially equipped, and then they can go out in support of whatever the federal government police is doing.
For most of the young people who are attending this occasion, the 2023 general elections provides them the opportunity to get involved in the decision-making process, which will guarantee a better future for them.
The daily wanton destruction of properties and killing of innocent Nigerians in different parts of the country is disheartening. We must be determined to win back our country.
We must come together and make a choice. We can create a difference. We can make a choice. We can elect a leader that will represent the aspiration, the dreams of Nigerian youth.
The theme for this year's International Youth Day is intergenerational solidarity, creating a world for all ages. And for many young people here, the 2023 general election in Nigeria is a defining moment for them to build a world of their dream.
Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, is also wishing all young Nigerians at home and abroad a happy International Youth Day. The former governor of Lagos said on his Twitter handle that the country is blessed with inexhaustible energies and brilliance of young people who keep breaking records with creativity shining bright like the sun. He says through the youth, the country's reputation is fast growing as the best place for tech entrepreneurship on the African continent.
Happy International Youth Day to all young Nigerians at home and in diaspora. Ours is a land blessed with the inexhaustible energies and brilliance of young people. Every day, they keep breaking new boundaries and records in almost every human endeavor. The creativity that lives in the heart of the average Nigerian youth shines bright like the sun. I must acknowledge and appreciate the innovators that powers the economy and create technology that has changed lives. In part, because of the work these men and women have done and continue to do, I celebrate them all. Throughout the length and breadth of this country, it is the responsibility of government to find and nurture these talented individuals that their success might bring pride, joy, and excitement to our people.
Staying with the International Youth Day, some youths are asking the government to increase its investment in agriculture to encourage more young people to play in this sector. Addressing journalists at a press conference held in Abuja to commemorate the day, the program's officer, Nigeria Youth Sustainability Development Goals, Dizani Otito, and the head of programs, Oxfam, Abdulaziz Musa, also urged the youth to be productive.
The 2022 International Youth Day is focused on intergenerational solidarity, which is crucial in today's world. In Nigeria, the youth aged between 15 and 35 make up 16.8% of the country's over 200 million population. And the president of the National Youth Council of Nigeria wants the youth to rise to their responsibilities.
Beyond seeking electoral offices, we must know that beginning from where we are, we have roles to play. We must never give up. In consonance with the Spartan Creed, here is courage, mankind's finest possession. If we try, we may win and we may lose. But if we do not try, we will certainly lose.
At another event commemorating the International Youth Day, some youths are asking the government to increase its investment in agriculture to encourage more youth participation in the sector. Addressing journalists at a press conference held in Abuja, the head of programs for Oxfam, Mr. Abdulaziz Musa, is also urging Nigerian youths to be productive.
Though the government has tried, with multiple interventions to support, but there are still several issues. First of all is the issue of targeting. We need data to be able to target the right people, the right young people that we say, because we keep hearing these policies, these investments available, but the young people that are actually interested, half of them do not get access to that. They're not even aware of it.
for all making it here.
Similarly, the United Nations Resident Coordinator for Nigeria, Mr. Matthias Mali, speaking at the Open Door Forum to mark the International Youth Day in Abuja, says the United Nations will continue to look at other avenues to give support to youths who run small businesses in Nigeria.
If young people are kept out of the decisions that affect their future, it is grossly unfair, first of all. It violates their rights, and it will not have the good outcome that it's needed.
Youth populations across the world have started recognizing the crucial role they play in national development and are gradually moving away from being just pawns to actual players, especially in political processes. However, the enabling environment for young people to thrive in Nigeria still remains an issue of concern for many of them. Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
To politics and the intrigues in the PDP, where the River State Governor Nyesom Wike has denied reports that he filed a lawsuit seeking to be declared as the party's presidential candidate flag bearer and accused the camp of the PDP presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of being behind the claim. He says earlier reports in the day that he filed a lawsuit against the party and two others is nothing but fake news. Governor Wike spoke amid the downpour at the commissioning of the State Assembly quarters in Port Harcourt.
Professor Mrs. Ngozi.
I have told the candidates, you will lose this election, you will win this election because of people around you. Anybody who knows me knows too well. If I was going to court, I would have gone to court within 2 weeks after the primaries, because it is a pre-election matter. And after 2 weeks, he can't go to court. The legal advisor of the party called me and told me he knows that there's a mischief going on. That he knows me very well. If I'm going to court, it's not those kind of lawyers I would have used. And I don't even know the lawyers. But I want to tell the candidate, it is the candidates group that are doing all these things. Let the world hear. They are the ones plotting all these things, thinking that they will spoil my name. You cannot. Yesterday they said, I removed all PDP flags in River State Government House. We are supposed to be talking about how you win an election. It's not about these run seekers around people. They are not doing him any favor. But those of you who are plotting and put my name that I went to court, for you to come out now to say, oh, we can't want to go, shame will be on you. Shame will be on all of you. Tell them, shame, shame, shame.
The governor also told his guest, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, that he never supported his bid to his present office. He also has a word for National Assembly lawmakers over their threats to impeach the president.
I was one of those who plotted that he should not be Speaker. I have no regret because my business is not to help your party that time, even now. My business is to make people uncomfortable. So I was supporting, it was in Government House Lodge, River State, in Abuja. When we plotted, he should not go. We plotted. PDP people, governors sold me out. They supported you. Even when we have agreed that Femi should not go, Lawan should not go, as a party, they went back and supported you. And that was how you made Ndudi Elimelu the minority leader. Even when we wrote you a letter, that's not what we wanted. You know, people don't like the truth, but the truth must be told at all times. You disregarded our party letter and made Ndudi Elimelu leader. These are people who sold PDP. The truth must be told at all times. When I saw them the right day, they say we will impeach Buhari. They don't have the balls. They don't have it. They don't have it. Today they are saying impeach Buhari. Ordinarily to override electoral act, they couldn't. I told them they cannot talk now. It's impeachment. Let me see who will stand up and say, Mr. Speaker, they think they can use Nigerians up and down. Why you? Something you know you cannot do. Why do you say it out?
In part two, after the break, you hear the reaction from the Speaker of the House of Representatives, plus the spokesperson of the PDP presidential campaign organization, Dino Melaye, debunking Governor Wike's claim on the latest, the lawsuit against Mr. Abubakar. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar restates need for the creation of state police. Party condemns government's inability to tackle rising insecurity. The drama in the People's Democratic Party assumes a different shade as Governor Nyesom Wike accuses camp of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar of masterminding the lawsuit against the party's presidential candidate. Atiku's camp denies allegation by Governor Wike. And the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited targets over $500 billion worth of revenue as it signs various agreements with 10 oil companies. Former U.S. President Donald Trump says he will not oppose the release of the warrants that led to FBI search his Mar-a-Lago house. Of the River State governor on not supporting the House of Representatives Speaker's bid in his present office. Now, the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, who was a special guest at the event commissioning of the State Assembly quarters in Port Harcourt, described Governor Wike's admittance as the irony of life.
Let me very quickly start off my remarks by thanking the governor, my friend and brother, for a confession that has been known to all forever, that you plotted against me. It is the irony of life, and indeed very interesting, the twist of fate, that those who you sat with to plot against me are the same people that sat together at your primaries to plot against you. So plotting is not necessarily a new thing in politics. But what is constant is that in politics, there are no permanent enemies, there are no permanent friends, but what you have is permanent interests. And by God's grace, this one that you have started, this journey that you have started that you and I both know shall be permanent. I didn't hear you say permanent, the governor. It shall be permanent. Please choke them. I say choke. I say choke.
We'll have the highlights of the commissioning of the State Assembly complex later on in the bulletin. Meanwhile, the spokesperson of the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party for the 2023 election, Dino Melaye, has reacted to Governor Wike's claim that some persons in the Atiku camp orchestrated the lawsuit he filed against Mr. Abubakar in order to entrench the Cold War between them. Mr. Melaye, who was a guest on our program Politics Today, said efforts are on to amicably resolve the disputes between Governor Wike and Mr. Abubakar. He also responded to the claim by the spokesperson of the APC presidential campaign, Festus Keyamo, that the PDP presidential candidate has no experience in governance.
Governor Wike as a progressive character who believes in the unity and prosperity of the PDP. And I want to tell you that Atiku Abubakar that you know will not keep mute in the face of these misgivings. And like I said, in a matter of days, we'll be fine.
The capacity of your principal, Atiku Abubakar, has been questioned. Last week on the program, Mr. Keyamo said that your candidate and your principal lacks the executive capacity. He's never had that experience. First and foremost, now, he said he's not tested, he's not trusted. What do you have to tell Nigerians in that respect?
Anyway, I would just want to react quickly by saying that Festus Keyamo definitely is suffering from limitation of vocabulary because I don't think he understands or he has a elucidation of the phrases he used on Atiku Abubakar, because even on a drunken state, nobody will say Atiku has not been tested or trusted, because there are plethora of evidence and activities to buttress that point. And if you look at the government of Atiku Abubakar and Olusegun Obasanjo, for example, let us look at in the area of average GDP growth in terms of percentage. Under the Obasanjo Atiku administration, it was 7.7%. Under the Yaradua, it was 7.1. Under Goodluck Jonathan, it was 5.5. Under the APC government that Keyamo is part of is 1.1%. I'm saying that the government that Atiku was the brain box, was part of, it was 7.7.
Okay, so
what the administration of Obasanjo Atiku gave to Nigerians. And again, a man who has managed his businesses. Atiku is a champion in the manufacturing sector, is a champion in the logistics sector, is a champion in the banking sector, is a champion in the education sector, is a champion. He has succeeded. He has transformed 5 naira to 15 naira.
And for the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Mr. Philip Shaibu, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, will bring about the needed change for Nigeria. He says much was expected from the APC, which promised change but failed to fulfill the promises it made to citizens in 2015. Mr. Shaibu stated this after receiving defectors from the APC in all 64 wards of Edo North Senatorial District in Benin City, the Edo State capital.
PDP power. PDP power to the people.
It is because of the quality and understanding of what government should be. That is why you decided that Nigeria, Edo State must change and must change for the good. So this time we are changing the change. We are now what? Changing the change. Because the change could not change anything. It did destroy Nigeria instead. We were part of that movement to change Nigeria for good. And we were convinced and we fought for it because we believe that we need a change for the betterment of our country. But unfortunately, they preach what they don't do. They preach what they will not do. When they say good morning, they mean good night. And I am very, very disappointed more with the man I call my father, that he decided to also be part of that characters, those characters that will say good morning and they meant good night.
Let's head over to Abuja studios where my colleague Terry Kumi is standing by with more. Hi, Terry.
Hello, Millicent. Away from politics to the oil sector, where Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State is urging the federal government to identify the brains behind crude oil theft in Nigeria and bring them to justice. Speaking to state correspondents after meeting with the president today, he asserts that the act is a cancer which must be dealt with to stabilize the economy. He warned against treating perpetrators as sacred cows, underscoring that anyone involved in the practice must be brought to book, irrespective of whose ox is gored.
What is the cost of producing 1 barrel of crude oil in Houston by Shell? And what is the cost of producing 1 barrel of crude oil by Shell in Nigeria? But if you are landing Warri Airport, look at the local river. There is no fish anymore. The place is highly polluted. There is total disregard to our environmental laws. And nobody is raising all these issues. Rather, what we want to occupy ourselves is knowing a party that has Muslim ticket and a party that has Christian ticket. So they are making mockery of us. It is only in Nigeria you talk about subsidy. What is World Bank saying about that? It is only in Nigeria you hear jargons like turnaround maintenance. Where in the world do you have such languages? A refinery is a process plant that requires just routine maintenance and cleaning. But here we spend billions of dollars to do what they call turnaround maintenance. As a matter of fact, it is something that government must take very seriously. Whether your profile is high, whether you're a medium class profile or low profile, you are considered a thief to national treasury. And commensurate punishment should be meted on such an individual once identified. So we condemn in its entirety all those perpetrating this crude oil theft and those financing and sponsoring it, because they are enemies of the country.
Meanwhile, in a move that is projected to unlock investment in the nation's oil and gas sector, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has signed a new deal with 10 oil companies in the country. The Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPC Limited, Mr. Mele Kyari, explains during the signing of the deal in Abuja that over $500 billion worth of revenue is expected from the initiatives. The agreements are the Production Sharing Agreement, Dispute Settlement Agreements, Settlement Repayment Agreements, and the Escrow Agreement.
Please proceed.
It is an event expected to mark a new phase in the regime of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, especially in the light of the full implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act. Government officials, captains of industries, and major players in the oil and gas industry gathered for this key event, which is the execution of the renegotiated production sharing contracts between the NNPC and its production sharing contractors. The project is expected to see both the federal government and the contractors benefit.
When the signing of the DSA and the enabling PSA, investments will come back. Uncertainties have been removed. New investors will come in because of the terms in the Petroleum Industry Act that enables recovery of costs, a very substantial and competitive benefit that will come to businesses. And ultimately, we know that this country will be the environment of choice for businesses as we continue to develop more and deeper relationship with our current partners, and we look forward to other partners joining us in this space.
Starting with the Bonga New Oil, to Bonga North, and to the Chevron-operated Abami gas project. We are all aligned. Put this together, it will bring in foreign direct investment of up to $4 billion this year.
The Production Sharing Contract, PSC, is an arrangement used in the upstream sector for the exploration and development of petroleum resources. Several oil-producing countries are adopting it as a contract for the exploration and development of their oil and gas resources. While the opportunities are beneficial to both parties, contractors are encouraged to look into investments in the nation's gas assets with an assurance that their investments will be protected.
As you are doing, you're planning for future investments, please focus on assets or gas assets, because to me that's the future. Of course, we want to jump to renewables, but before we jump, let's try to hold the rope and get to the point where we want to get to. But most importantly, please also focus on gas or on your gas assets.
Well, 128. Well, 128 has NNPC as one of the parties.
The parties put pen to paper to seal the deal, which covers 5 oil mining licenses.
Well, still ahead on the news at 10, Nigerian Customs Service generates over 1.2 trillion naira revenue into the Federation account for the first half of this year, exceeds target by 20%. That's on Business News. Join us again. Welcome back to the news at 10. The president has admitted that the multiple challenges of insurgency, banditry and kidnapping facing the country have stretched the security agencies and other resources. According to President Muhammadu Buhari, due to the challenges, the Office of the National Security Advisor has revised the National Counterterrorism Strategy, which he launched in August 2016. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this at the launch of the National Crisis Management Doctrine, aimed at bridging the gap created by extensive deployment of security services through fostering collaboration amongst ministries, departments and agencies.
The challenge of insecurity has once again come to the fore as the president chairs the launch of a national crisis management doctrine developed by the Office of the National Security Advisor and witnessed by service chiefs at the council chamber. President Buhari acknowledges the enormous effect of the 13-year-old insurgency on the capacity of security agencies.
The emergence of the Boko Haram terrorists group, as well as bandits and kidnappers in Nigeria, considerably changed the country's security situation, leaving panic in the minds of the populace. These and other security challenges confronting the nation tend to stretch the deployment of our security agencies, resources, and national security apparatus. Owing to the dynamics of this crisis, the Office of the National Security Advisor revised the National Counter-Terrorism Strategy, which I endorsed in August 2016. This doctrine is aimed at bridging the gap created by extensive deployment of security services through fostering collaboration amongst ministries, departments, and agencies, thereby ensuring greater successes in tackling national crisis.
The doctrine, which is a subset of the National Counter-Terrorism Strategy, was hatched in 2014. The National Security Advisor explained that it will foster the implementation of the strategy.
This doctrine provides a detailed methodology for national crisis response, outlining how the various relevant ministries, departments, and agencies of government should interact at the strategic, operational, and tactical levels. It is to be noted that the National Crisis Management Doctrine can be used to manage both malicious threats and civil emergencies.
The doctrine, developed by the Office of the National Security Advisor, is with the aim of ensuring greater confrontation in the fight against terrorism. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
In the meantime, the federal government has inaugurated a presidential technical committee to review 3 of its payment platforms: the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPIS, Government Integrated Financial Management Information System, GIFMIS, and the Treasury Single Account, TSA. Inaugurating the committee in Abuja, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Issa Ali Pantami, says the decision became necessary in view of the numerous allegations that the 3 systems are being used to siphon funds belonging to the government. Well, that's all from Abuja. Back to you, Millicent.
Thank you, Terry. We're back in Rivers State, where the Governor Nyesom Wike today restated his commitment to improving the welfare of the principals and members of staff of the different arms of government as part of his administration's drive to engender good governance in the state. Governor Wike stated this during the commissioning of 32 units of 4-bedroom flats built as residential quarters for members of the State House of Assembly. The complex was commissioned by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, who urged the state lawmakers to reciprocate the gesture with effective lawmaking.
It's the latest in a goodwill from the Nyesom Wike-led executive to the other arms of government in Rivers State since the inception of his administration in 2015. The exquisitely built residential quarters in Port Harcourt comes as a demonstration of support to the legislative arm. The Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, is here to commission these 32 units of 4-bedroom duplexes for the 32 state lawmakers. But first, the beneficiaries appreciate Governor Wike for the gesture.
I want to thank the governor. What we are doing here today shows the level of commitment he has for the people. It shows development, it shows progress. For us as assembly members, we will continually remain grateful.
This appears to be one project Governor Wike feels proud to showcase, financed like other projects through the Paris Club refund, which he secured through the support of the House Speaker.
I invited you because of the role you played for Rivers State to get their money. And I said, come and see what I've done with that money, part of it. Speaker, when you go, the federal government add money for Wike. He has done well. He has done well. You know, built by Lubrix, funded by Julius Berger. Look at the standard. Who will not live here and will not do good law? Tell me.
For the special guests, the houses should serve as a debt with the state lawmakers owe the people they are representing.
His Excellency Nyesom Wike has demonstrated his recognition of the vital role of the legislators in a functioning democracy. It now falls to the present and future legislators to live up to the high expectations of their office and justify the confidence reposed in them.
The project is then commissioned and inspected.
Rivers State are hereby commissioned for this magnificent edifice for the legislators of Rivers State Assembly.
After the inauguration of the Rivers State House of Assembly quarters, Governor Wike takes the Speaker and his entourage to inspect the Port Harcourt campus of the Nigerian Law School.
To some company news now. As part of efforts to treat Nigerians to a unique experience of the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup, Coca-Cola Nigeria has kicked off a consumer reward campaign for football lovers. Tagged the Coca-Cola Believe and Win under the Crown promo with rewards worth over 400 million naira, 5 lucky consumers will get to experience the World Cup with an all-expense-paid trip to Qatar.
The 2022 FIFA World Cup begins in a few weeks, with 32 countries taking part in Qatar. Millions of football lovers are in for exciting moments as global soft drink brand Coca-Cola, unveils Believe and Win under the Crown promo in Lagos.
Our friends and partners in the media for coming out.
The Coca-Cola Believe and Win under the Crown promo seeks to connect the consumers with their friends and families while enjoying the World Cup in the Gulf nation.
This campaign reflects these continued efforts of the Coca-Cola Believe and Win under the Crown promotion, which is really set to excite consumers across the country with winnings over 400 million naira, and which also includes the much coveted opportunity for 5 lucky winners to benefit and win an all-expense paid trip to experience the 2022 FIFA World Cup live in Qatar. This Coca-Cola Believe and Win under the Crown promotion not only provides an avenue to support Africa teams in the FIFA World Cup, but also enable our consumers to connect with their friends and families to enjoy the magical moments of soccer that this season brings.
Next question. I hope that's satisfactory, sir.
Coca-Cola Nigeria explains the process for participating in the promo.
What we're saying to the consumer is when you buy your favorite bottle of Coke, Fanta, Sprite, or Schweppes, and then you open the crown or the cap, look under it. There are legible codes. Emphasis on the codes are very legible. And when you see those codes, we also just want you to take your phone on any network and just dial star 8014 star, put in those legible codes, press hash, and then press play, and then send. As simple as that.
Coca-Cola Nigeria encourages football lovers to enjoy the refreshing taste of its beverages and enter the promotion for free as the Mondial beckons.
Now for some business news, here's Anne Wilder.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial star 894 hash now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Millicent. Hello and welcome to Business News. The Nigerian Customs Service has announced a revenue generation of over 1.2 trillion naira into the Federation account for the first half of this year. During a news conference in Abuja, the Customs Public Relations Officer, Timi Bomodi, explains that the amount generated exceeds the achievements in the first half of last year by 28%. He also highlighted some of the achievements, which include seizure of $339,880, £3,013 and 133 ATM cards, with 7 persons arrested in connection to anti-money laundering and counter-terror financing in the last 6 months. And to some company news outside our shores, multinational healthcare giant Johnson & Johnson says that it will stop making and selling its talc-based baby powder around the world from next year. This announcement is coming after 2 years the company ended sales of the product in the United States. In a statement released today, Johnson & Johnson explains that it has decided to transition to an all-cornstarch-based baby powder portfolio as part of worldwide portfolio assessment. More than 189 billion naira has been drawn off from the total value of equities listed, with the local bourse ending the week with downbeat sentiments. Let's hear the details from Laddie Williams.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, sell pressure carries on in the market as the final trading day of the week ends in the red. Yeah, we saw massive sell pressure today with the all-share index there down 0.70% and losing the 50K mark again, 49,664 points. Look at the market cap there, below the 27 trillion naira mark at 26.78 trillion. Let's move on now. We see activity chart there. There's a lot of buy interest today. Look at that, 750 million units of stocks traded, valued at 5.30 billion naira, with deals in the red at 4,000 level. Well, we see a lot of buy interest looking at these numbers for today. Let's move over now. We see the sectoral chart there. Banking down 0.19%. We saw a sell-off with stocks like GTCO and all other tier 1 lenders bringing down that counter. Consumer goods massively in the green, 2.82%. So Boa Foods there and Honeywell Flour popping that counter up. And we see the oil and gas down 0.16%. Let's flip over to the top gainers there. Look at that. Boa Foods there up 10%, closing at 59 naira 95 kobo. And NEM Insurance there 4 naira 41 kobo, up 9.98%. We see Cortville also in the top gainers list. Then, interestingly, let's look at the top losers list there. We see Boa Cement, 52 naira 95 kobo, pulling the market down 9.95%. And we see Champs there, 28 kobo, down 9.68%. So it's quite interesting. We're seeing Boa Foods on the top gainers list, and flipping over to the losers counter, we're seeing Boa Cement. So we can just call it a Boa day. So it's 4 losses and just 1 gain this week. I guess the week's summary goes to the Bears. And that's the stock market report. I'm Ladi Williams. It's back to you.
Thank you, Ladi. Now let's take a look at closing numbers from major markets around the world. Thanks for watching Business News Tonight. I'm Anne Nwawadu. The rest of the news at 10 continues now with Millicent. Have a wonderful weekend.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thanks, Anne. The U.S. Justice Department has asked a Florida judge to unseal the warrant FBI agents used to search former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home this week. In response, Mr. Trump says he is encouraging the immediate release of the documents, but maintains the search was unnecessary and politically motivated. Simon Pusey has more in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Former US President Donald Trump has said he will not oppose the release of the warrant that let FBI agents search his Mar-a-Lago home earlier this week. In a statement, Mr. Trump said he was encouraging its immediate release, but repeated his claim the search was unnecessary and politically motivated.
That search was of premises located in Florida belonging to the former president.
The U.S. Department of Justice has made a rare request to a Florida court to unseal the warrant. If granted, it would mean the documents are made available to the public and could confirm the reason for Monday's search of Mr. Trump's Florida home, something that the Justice Department has not yet revealed. The FBI search is believed to have been in connection to an investigation into whether the former president removed classified records and sensitive material from the White House. The UK Ministry of Defence says blasts at a Russian-operated airfield in Crimea this week have significantly degraded its Navy Black Sea Fleet. The Saki base in the west of Russian-ruled Crimea was rocked by a string of blasts on Tuesday, killing 1 person. The blasts led to the loss of 8 Russian combat jets, the MOD said. Ukraine has not claimed responsibility, but satellite images suggest the possibility of a targeted attack. The statement says the cause of the blast is unclear, but at least 5 fighter bombers and 3 multi-role jets were almost certainly destroyed or seriously damaged. Firefighters and residents were at work clearing mud and debris after a big storm caused floods and mudslides on the Sicilian island of Stromboli. The storm on Thursday evening on the small Mediterranean island north of Sicily caused damage across the other Aeolian islands, which are all popular tourist destinations. Bad weather continued to cause flooding in the southern region of Calabria on Friday. Stromboli Island is famous for its volcano, which is one of the world's most active and has been erupting almost continuously since 1932. That's according to the geology.com website. The Spanish Coast Guard has rescued more than 300 migrants off the Canary Islands in a number of operations. Maritime rescue authorities said on Friday they rescued 367 people from 8 boats overnight, including one which had capsized. A helicopter rescued 8 people from the sea. On Lanzarote Island, a critically ill child and pregnant woman were among 317 brought ashore. According to Interior Ministry figures, more than 9,589 migrants have arrived in the Canary Islands up to July the 31st, a 27% increase over the same period last year. Vehicles were swept away by flash floods and 5 construction workers were missing following heavy rains in northern China's Shanxi province. Footage of the aftermath has been released on state TV, with volunteers seen cleaning up muddy roads and rescuers utilizing inflatable boats to reach stranded people. Authorities have activated a flood emergency response and relief efforts are underway. A rare dust devil has been spotted spinning through a rural area in northeast England as another heat wave hits the country. Footage filmed by the County Durham and Darlington Fire and Rescue Service shows the whirlwind blowing over a field following a wildfire in Durham County. The weather phenomenon, which usually happens when it's very warm, is not common in England. Parts of England are in the middle of their second heat wave this summer, with temperatures forecast to top 30 degrees Celsius for the next few days, having reached their highest ever of more than 40 degrees Celsius last month. And finally, the power of teenagers armed with corn pops and Rice Krispies were on full display in Chicago. Using 5,000 boxes of cereal gifted by Kellogg's, members of the Chicago Children United for Ukraine, or CCUK, created a Guinness World Record-breaking cereal mosaic. With the Corn Pops yellow boxes and the Rice Krispies blue ones, the teens made a massive Ukrainian flag on the floor of the Wintrust Financial Corporation's Grand Banking Hall in downtown Chicago. The proceeds are going to help non-profit Razom for the Ukraine refugee effort.
We came up with this idea because originally Michael and I, every time we came down or stuff like that, we always ate cereal, and we love cereal so much. So we decided, and we were like, oh, let's use cereal as the perfect food to create the mosaic, or the cereal box mosaic. And when we decided that, we were like, oh, what are we gonna do with the cereal boxes when we're done with it? And we were like, oh, we should donate it to a charity or something like that. So we decided to donate it to the Greater Chicago Food Depository.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. Nigeria's Falconets begin their campaign at the 2022 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup after beating France 1-0 in the Group C opener. Falconets, who are 2-time runners-up in the competition, defied heavy rain in San Jose as informed Sebastian Flourish finished off coolly in the 85th minute to hand Nigeria all 3 points. And Real Madrid's Karim Benzema and Thibaut Courtois, as well as Manchester City's Kevin De Bruyne, are in the running for UEFA's 2021-2022 Men's Player of the Year award after topping a 15-player shortlist. Benzema and Courtois helped Real seal a record 14th European title last season, while De Bruyne guided City to the Premier League title. And Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag says he is aware that the expectations from the fans of the club is very high. Ten Hag, who is preparing his side to face Brentford in the English Premier League, insists he is ready for the challenge. Now, Tyson Fury has reaffirmed his retirement from boxing in a statement on his social media accounts, saying bon voyage to the sport on his 34th birthday. Fury announced his retirement after his win over Dillian Whyte to retain his WBC title at London's Wembley Stadium in April. Well, we wish him well in his future endeavors, but that's a wrap on Sports News. It's back to Millicent with the wrap of the news at 10. I'm Victor Matthias. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Victor. And the main news again. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, today, on the occasion of the 2022 International Youth Day, restated the need for the creation of state police in the face of rising insecurity in the country. He also condemned government's inability to amicably resolve the ASUU strike. Also, the presidential candidate of the APC also wished the Nigerian youth home and abroad a happy International Youth Day. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a good night and stay safe.